Hey guys, welcome to Kidmissing Radio. I am your host, Angelina Wilson. This is going to be another part in my series on the Ruby Franke situation. Now, I was contacted to be on a podcast about this after my last podcast. I did the interview, but I don't know where the podcast is. They liked that I was informed, but that I also was a fan of the siblings. Now, I don't know how to feel about Bonnie right now. I don't know how to explain it, but she's justifying and she doesn't have to. You know what I mean? It's her own insecurity. And my opinion. Sherry wrote a book. I do want to read it. I have not gotten a copy of it yet. I will probably get a digital copy of it. And apparently in her book, one of the things that she said was that Ruby and Jody had an intimate relationship, a physical relationship, which in their religion, in any religion, is highly frowned upon. So, yeah. Oh, I don't want to turn up my playback speed. Sorry, guys. I just wanted to turn up the volume to make sure you could hear me. I accidentally turned up the playback speed for a second. But I also wanted to address, everybody has said, and this was one of the things that I was complimented on, that Ruby was the first one to do the whole vlogging thing, and her family followed suit. That is absolutely flat out not true. It was actually Ellie and Jared that did it first. Bonnie and Joel may have started around the same time as Ellie and Jared. I think they did. Excuse me. And I don't know what's going on between Ellie and Jared, Bonnie and Joel, but they have not been spending any time together anymore. Which to me is sad for the kids because the kids were always very close. The Dad Challenge podcast just showed a video of Bonnie's when she was trying to get Olivia to get her ears pierced, and Olivia got scared because she saw another kid get hers pierced and was crying. I don't think Ruby handled it the right way. Ruby. Oh my god. Sorry. Bonnie handled it the right way at all. Joel was Joel, you know. Joel was just being dad. You know. Joel's kind of whipped. I hate to say it, but he is. But he has a huge heart, and I love Joel for that. And he is a family leader as far as religion and stuff. I remember, and this was something else I was complimented on, watching a video of theirs where they were doing a family Bible study, and Cody was talking about something about lying or something because of the Bible study that they were doing, and he was crying. He wasn't feeling bad about doing anything or anything like that. It was just the emotional nature of delving into the Word, and I was crying. Not only delving into the Word as a family, but with the dad sitting down, reading it to you, and leading the family toward the Lord, which to me is priceless. In the way it should be. I'm going to get total hate for that. Because moms can do it too. Yes, they can. And they have a responsibility as a Christian woman to lead your husband that way. No question. Read the Bible. It says that. Part of our responsibility, if you are a Christian wife, is to lead your husband in that way. Like I said, it's in the Bible. I'm not one that's good at quoting like chapter and verse. I just know what's in my Bible. I don't necessarily, like I said, chapter and verse. And I apologize for the way I sound. I'm sick. But I really wanted to do this video, this podcast. Now, some of the things that bother me, like I said, they have said that Jody was the first. Jody was not the first in that family. Ellie and Jared were. And I think Bonnie and Joel were about the same time as Ellie and Jared. Then Ruby. In fact, I don't know if it's still on Ellie and Jared's channel because there's way too many videos and there's no way to search. But there is a video on their channel. And I think I actually sent it to the people who I did that podcast with. I think I'm not sure if I found it, where Ellie and Jared went to Ruby's house to Ruby and what's his name? This was years ago. They went to the house and found all of the children alone. You could tell how upset they were, and they did not leave. They tried not to say too much on camera, and I'm not very good with tone, I'm not very good with expressions and things like that, because I'm autistic. I have a very hard time with that. I never understood it until I found out that I am in fact mildly autistic, and part of autism is not understanding those cues. And but the best that I could tell, they were not happy, especially Jared, that those kids were left by themselves. And they said on camera, we're not leaving these kids until Ruby and, why can't I remember her husband's name? Get back. And they didn't leave them. They didn't show whatever they said to Ruby and her husband when they got back on camera, because you know it wasn't pretty. One thing I'll say about Ellie and Jared is like, Ellie will tell you straight out, right? She has a potty mouth. You know? Even though they don't use that language on camera. And Jared doesn't use that language very often. Once in a great, great while. Ellie will tell you she has a potty mouth. I've seen Jared bleep himself. I've seen Jared bleep Ellie. Because he's the one that edits. I remember one time when their oldest, Jackson, was little, and he was very upset, and he wasn't cooperating, I guess, Oh, hold on, guys. Hey, guys, I'm back. Okay. Had to answer that. As I was saying. It was an incident. Jackson was pretty young, maybe 5, and they were trying to get him to decide where he wanted to go to eat that night or something. They turned off the camera. You did not see any of it. And they turned the camera back on. Jackson was more calm, and Jared explained to the camera what happened. So they do not discipline on camera, which is a good thing, because you shouldn't. And Bonnie is saying her kids get W-2s. Well, first of all, if you're doing a job like that, you wouldn't get a W-2. You'd get a 1099 because you're an independent contractor. Aside from the fact that you can't W-2 a 6-year-old or 7-year-old, however old Lincoln is, I believe they're putting money aside for them. There are several of them that talk about putting money aside for their kids, and I believe they are. I like House of Hughes. As someone who has cerebral palsy, I appreciate having someone I can relate to, like Beckham. And I do believe he's very much loved. I know there's been some controversy lately because he fell down the stairs in his wheelchair. One thing I didn't like, though, was that in a way he's being punished because he's not going to be allowed to be in his wheelchair in the house at all, which is, to me, wrong, but it's my own opinion. If we're talking about family vloggers, I will say that probably the best one, or vloggers, not bloggers, excuse me, is Stephanie George. That's Sebastian Vasquez's mother. He has Cornelia de Lange syndrome, CDLS, which is a very rare genetic syndrome. It's not one that's, oh, if your parents both have the gene, you'll get it type thing. It's a spontaneous genetic boo-boo. And he also has a brain disorder. She wants to educate people about his condition. That's why she's very picky about how often she vlogs, and she'll never vlog him crying. She will turn his back to the camera, or she'll turn off the camera until he's calm, whatever. She will not exploit him being upset, and I love it. And I've never heard anybody say a word about her, because that's ethical and moral. And I will say Ellie and Jared have not been vlogging as much. And when they do, it's not as much with the kids. They'll show the kids' birthdays, Christmas, stuff like that. Although they didn't show Jackson's Did they show Jackson's birthday this year? No, not yet. It's this month. Jackson's gonna be 12? Wow. But anyway. And I will say this, Bonnie's daughter is 14, almost 15. She's now at an age where if she doesn't want to be on camera, she can simply go to her room and shut the door. And by the way, you can say what you want about House of Hughes, but I have actually heard her say to Blakely, the neurotypical child, something, and Blakely not wanting to be on camera or whatever, and she doesn't put her on camera. That being said, she put up it was a short, so I don't know what was going on, but she was disciplining Blakely. She forgot she was recording it. And then you see her say, oh, the F word, kind of in a whispered tone, and hit the button. I don't know why she would have uploaded that as a short. And even if it was an accidental upload, why wouldn't you have deleted that? You know? I don't understand that. I don't know what she was trying to prove by doing that, but it was in bad taste. In poor taste, in my opinion. But yeah, I stopped following Ruby a long time ago. Even before all of this came out, when things first started coming out about Chad and stuff, about the way he was treated, my mother was still alive. And she asked me, because she knows I follow all those people. I said, oh, I unsubscribed to Ruby a long time ago because there were so many red flags. Excuse me. You could tell which kids were sort of her favorites. The two little girls in the middle were her favorites, in my opinion. The ones that everybody thought were twins that weren't. The two youngest, the ones that she was convicted of abusing, she was always nasty to those two. On camera. So that was really no surprise. And she didn't like Chad. She was, in my opinion, jealous of Charity in a lot of ways. Like I said, these are my opinions based on what I've seen, and I'm honored that I was asked to be on that podcast. I don't remember if they actually sent me a copy of it or not. But I was contacted through my podcast because of my podcast on this situation. I check out the Dad Challenge podcast on YouTube. Language warning. Because he talks about all the family vloggers. Like I said, I don't mind some of them. Some of them are basically documenting first step, first day of school, first work, not in that order, obviously. Things like that. Some are documenting their children's disabilities, like Freya's Lucky Arm is another channel on CDLS. Another channel on CDLS just popped up, and what was I going to say? Mummy and Avery is out of the UK, and that's a little girl who got developed. No, that's not the right word either. Well, she got brain damaged and has cerebral palsy from a lack of oxygen. At or shortly after birth, just like I did. Only her situation is worse. Her vlogs aren't always with the kids. Like she did one whole vlog because they just moved into a new house where she completely redid Avery's room. And she had little things that people have sent to Avery over the years from the channel to their P.O. box in England. Which is nice. They're things Avery will have when she grows up. You have to be, and I will say this. A lot of people, including the Dad Challenge podcast, said, "Oh, they're deleting comments. Look how many comments it says there are and how many there actually are." YouTubers do that. They also have settings in YouTube where you can put certain words and certain phrases. So YouTube will automatically filter them out. So, excuse me. So yeah, it was, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. What else is new? So they're all different family vlogs. Another one that Dad Challenge podcast gets on is Jess Fam. There's also been a recent documentary on Max, which I'm in the process of watching, about the Micah Stauffer situation where they adopted a little boy and then they quote-unquote rehomed him. That's not family vlogging. That's just plain horrible human being-ing, if that's if that's a term. That's funny. I mean, I'm sorry, it is. Child is forever. Excuse me. I just know that the only ones that I watch primarily are House of Hughes and Stephanie George. I sometimes watch Mummy and Avery. I really enjoyed her doing Avery's room. I haven't watched very many of hers. I used to watch Ellie and Jared, but they don't really put videos out anymore. Very rarely. And they're not family vlogs anymore, really, which is understandable under the circumstances. But I would like to know what happened between Ruby and Bonnie. Not Ruby and Bonnie, oh my god. Ellie and Bonnie. Their other sister is also a vlogger. I don't really follow her. Bo did vlog for a while. He doesn't anymore. That's their brother. And I was just watching a video of somebody saying she didn't know much about the brother. Well, let me tell you. The brother was in with Jody, too. Because she was his counselor, and he's the one that got Ruby involved with Jody. It's out there. I don't know how far Jody infiltrated his household, but Bo was in counseling with Jody. That is how Ruby met Jody. Was he recommended Jody to Ruby. Like I said, well before the whole Jody thing happened, there were red flags in that family. As people pointed out, you don't not bring lunch to school to your kindergartner because she didn't make her own damn lunch. I'm sorry. But my mother wouldn't have wanted me making my own lunch at that age because her kitchen would probably have been a disaster. I don't have the best fine motor skills now, and back then they were virtually non-existent. But even if that weren't the case, why on earth would you expect your 5-year-old to have that kind of responsibility? Or your preschooler to get up on her own for school? Really? I don't understand that at all. Because that's not happening. They don't understand. You know? And it's all documented. A lot of people have the video. I don't know how people like capture other videos and stuff like that. I'm not that versed in editing and stuff. I'm still trying to learn how to screen record, honestly. For genealogy videos and stuff. So So yeah, I just wanted to come on here, do another video on it because so much is being said now. They're in jail for at least 4 years. Hopefully it'll be longer. Now, full transparency, my Punky's World channel is technically a vlog channel. I don't have children. Nor would I feel comfortable putting them on YouTube, honestly. I mean, if you have a child, I guess, who's neurotypical, who is doing well in school, has friends, all that sort of stuff, then maybe it wouldn't bother him. I'm not going to say nobody should do it because I wouldn't do it. That's inappropriate. You have to make decisions for yourself. What is right for you? What is right for your family, for your children? Like I said, in my case, going through everything I went through as a child, I would not want that on camera. I just wouldn't. The bullying and just a lot of other crap I'm not going to go into. I just wouldn't want it memorialized. And I would like to think that none of them would do that. Jess Fam, she vlogs too much about her exes and, arguments over time with kids and whatever. I don't think she should do that. Personal opinion. There are families that are vlogging their children's battles with cancer and different things. And you know what? I don't know how I feel about it because the child doesn't have any say in that. They're too sick to have a say in it. I understand the parents are trying to educate other parents. But maybe do that without showing the child at their sickest. You know what I mean? Show the child thriving in spite of their illness, if you want to show the child. Do a lot of piece to camera where you just talk to the camera about what's going on and your own emotions and stuff. I know a lot of adults share their cancer journeys and stuff. I've certainly shared mine, not as it was happening. YouTube didn't even exist then. But, and honest to goodness, it didn't. Because it was 1999. And YouTube didn't become a thing until 2004, I think. 2005, something like that. So, yeah. Even if it had, I wouldn't have been able to do it physically. It amazes me how some of these people going through cancer treatment, even at the end of their lives, are finding the energy to vlog and edit. Yet, no. I had 6 months of chemotherapy, 2 hospitalizations, stage 4 lymphoma. Yeah, no, I was not in a state to be recording anything. That being said, I do have it's a special blog. It's a health blog that keeps your family updated on stuff. Shoot, I can't remember what the page is called. But it's a specific page for patients to do that for their families. And then it's free and you give the link to your families. Because my family is spread out all over the place. That's why I started doing it. And it is healthy to get it out there. And I have shared my journey on my Punky's World channel now that I'm past the chemo and stuff. Past the 3 painful surgeries with the second cancer. And so, and I've been sharing my health journey on there all along, my issues with my knee, which includes arthritis, tendonitis, my journey with my CPAP, all of it. But I'm a 50-year-old woman, so I understand documenting that. And I have my pro wrestling channel, which is growing very slowly because it's a pro wrestling channel. But my channel's a little different. I'm not just news. I review DVDs, pay-per-views. I do previews of pay-per-views, all of that on there. Plus, I talk about my own memories of wrestling, my favorites from back in the day, all that stuff that other wrestling channels just don't do. And that's called Monkey's Pro Wrestling. And of course, there's Kidmissing. And I feel like this subject matter of the family vloggers fits into the Kidmissing mold because my whole goal is to be an advocate for children. And oh boy, do the Franke children need an advocate. Excuse me. So there are good and bad things in that genre, just like I'm sure there are in a lot of genres of YouTube. You know, there are people that take stupid risks and get millions of views for it, you know? Which is just wrong. You can go down some pretty fun rabbit holes on YouTube. And some pretty scary ones, too. I have a private list called True Crime History. And that list is my research list for Kidmissing, more or less. Some of it's just, I don't want to say fun, that's the wrong word. Interesting solved stuff. And others really old unsolved stuff. So, and I'm very proud to be working with Crimes Forgotten by Time over on YouTube. She's going to be doing a couple of my cases, which I'm very excited about. This coming month, she's going to be doing a case that I did this past month. And in May, she'll be doing the Kimberly Morrow case, which I'm very excited about. She wants to do it around the anniversary. So, I can't wait to tell the family that Kim's getting some more attention on a much bigger channel. Don't get me wrong, I'm headed toward 500 subscribers on Kidmissing, which is outrageous. In a good way. I have so many cases that I want to see resolutions in, like identifications. You know, if you ask me, who do you want to see identified most? Well, some of them have already been identified, like the Christmas tree lady. I want to see the Vintage Park lady, the lady that died in the Vintage Park Hotel, identified. It's going to be difficult, though, because her DNA came back as Middle Eastern. And there aren't that many people of that origin or ethnicity or those ethnicities in DNA databases, you know? Not a lot of those people do Ancestry or, 23andMe or MyHeritage or whatever. And I would love to see Little Miss Panisovsky identified. Those are my two big ones. I have other ones if I looked back through my cases. the elderly man that died in Webster, Mass, natural causes. I would like to see him identified. So yeah, for me, that's one of my pet projects is identification, which is why I do Doe Fridays over there, and I do Mondays and Wednesdays are cases that fit within the theme of the month, if that month has a theme, which for February is going to be Fragile February instead of 50s February, because I did a case this month about someone who was vulnerable, fragile, and unidentified. And so it made me think that I wanted to do cases on those who are vulnerable, but I had to word it in a way that it would go with the word February. So I said Fragile February, because what's more fragile than a very young child, a 3-year-old? What's more fragile than someone who is mentally handicapped, physically handicapped, mentally ill? All of those things, and that's what I'm looking for February. And like I said, I'd like to have some updates. I don't always have updates. So that's a quick update on Kidmissing TV. And this will go over there tomorrow. Or maybe today. I'm going to upload this over on my podcast on Spotify, so check it out. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. Bye, guys.